Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Grenada Police probe discovery of decomposed bodies in boat off Carriacou. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Wednesday, 15th December 2021. Details when we return.
Conveniently located in the Grenada Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenada will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Welcome back. Police on Monday confirmed that they were investigating the discovery of a boat with 7 bodies in a decomposed state on Sunday. In a brief statement, the police said that officers assigned to the Northern Division responded to a report of a drifting vessel in the vicinity of Gunpoint, Carriacou, on Sunday. The boat was retrieved and towed to Harvey Vale by the Grenada Coast Guard, where 7 adult male bodies were discovered in a decomposed state, the statement said. Specialized units of the force are presently analyzing personal effects and devices found on board the vessel, following which a comprehensive update will be provided. Police said they had also recovered 3 mobile phones and a GPS tracker. Media reports here said there have been suggestions that the vessel could have originated in Guyana, where there were reports of a group of men missing since September. One unidentified marine expert has said that the men on board the vessel had been at sea for an extended period based on the barnacles that are growing on the side of the vessel. This is an indication that the vessel was drifting for a while now, the expert added. Earlier this year, Trinidad and Tobago authorities said that a vessel with 15 bodies on board had been traced to Mauritania in Africa. Through collaborations with the Institute of Marine Affairs, we have learned that the vessel was reported stolen in Mauritania, the authorities in Trinidad said then. In other news, the country has recorded its first case of the Omicron variant. The imported case has triggered an investigation by Trinidad and Tobago's Ministry of National Security, and there was at least 1 breach by the airline the person boarded to enter the country. It has led several people now having to be quarantined. Alicia Boucher of TV6 News in Trinidad and Tobago has more in this report.
So as we predicted, it is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So on Monday 13th December this morning, we detected our first case of Omicron variant of concern.
TNT's first case of Omicron is in a woman who came in on a flight that landed at Carriacou International Airport on December 9th. Minister of Health Terence Singh calls the sequence of events that led to that occurrence very disturbing.
Flight originated in New York, and this is the disturbing part. In New York, the person was allowed to board a flight with a positive PCR test. Person then traveled to Panama, where they presented a negative antigen test. So a positive PCR test in contravention of our TTPAS regulations.
A second breach may have occurred in relation to the antigen test from Panama, as TNT only allows PCR tests pass to be used for entry. The entire matter is now under investigation, and the Health Ministry says the airport in New York would also be notified of the breach in screening procedures.
And the Minister of National Security and myself met this morning. We will be providing to the Minister of National Security the person's name, the airline, because they have some liability in this, and the person for doing what they did. Luckily, our Trinidad Port Health picked up the fact that this person was allowed to board with a positive PCR test.
In this regard, the health minister says the individual had no contact with the general population.
The person was immediately isolated in a step-down facility and continues to be isolated.
But the breach has led to a number of people being quarantined in keeping with international protocols, which dictate that everyone within a 2-row radius on an airplane must be isolated. Those people are in home quarantine at this time.
All 14 of those persons immediately around those persons, 2 rows in front, 2 rows behind, and 2 rows each to the side, all have negative PCR tests, all are fully vaccinated. They are in quarantine and will be monitored.
As for the vaccination status of the Omicron case?
Yes, the person was in fact vaccinated. Yes.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasram says there might be some liability under the public health regulations.
Minister, I don't know if you are aware of the actual penalties, but I think it is somewhere in the region of the public health ordinance fine, not in terms of the airline, but in terms of the breach of the TT pass for the individual, of upwards of 250,000 and 6 months imprisonment.
Minister D.L. Singh says the matter is a very serious one, and Minister Hines is now tasked with ascertaining the fines that can be imposed on all parties involved from the information that has been provided to him. Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Parliament on Monday in Trinidad and Tobago, there was an exchange of words between an opposition MP and the health minister over the name of the airline which the passenger with a positive PCR was allowed to board one of its planes bound for Trinidad and Tobago. TV6's Jewel Brown reports.
Could you please identify give the identity of the airline that bears the responsibility, according to your answer, for this very serious debacle?
Orpuch East MP Dr. Rudal Munilal's question to Health Minister Terence Dial Singh in the House of Representatives on Monday, after Carriacou East MP Dr. Richard Sicharan raised an urgent question on behalf of the opposition, seeking details about the circumstances which allowed a passenger who tested positive for the Omicron variant of COVID-19 to board a flight in New York and arrive at the Carriacou International Airport. Before responding to Dr. Munilal's question, the Health Minister could be seen having a quick word with National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines.
That is currently being investigated, and between the Immigration Department and the Civil Aviation Authority, they will make the identification and do the necessary investigations. At this point in time, I do not know the name of the airline.
Now for Orpuch is?
Mr. Minister of Health, are you saying that 5 days have elapsed and you cannot get the identity of an airline from a boarding pass of a passenger that you have identified after 5 days? Is that what you are saying to this country?
Orpuch East, you have 15 seconds to ask a question.
House Speaker Bridget Anisette George sought to restore order to the proceedings.
Madam Speaker, there was also a part of the leg of the journey which occurred in Panama. So it's not 5 days. Also, it is not the responsibility of the Minister of Health to do this. It is the responsibility of the airline.
Yeah, listen, a question was asked. I'm sure we all want to hear the answer. But if members continue to talk above the minister, we're not going to get the answer.
But the verbal exchange between the health minister and the opposition MP continued after Mr. Dayal Singh said he was not surprised by Dr. Munilal's question.
Because they have been seeking to sabotage every aspect of the government's COVID response from day one. And this is another attempt.
Improper motive. Nonsense. The minister cannot identify an airline from a boarding pass.
Member for Oropuchi East.
The health minister continued with his response to Dr. Munilal.
It is not the Minister of Health's duty, good friend, to identify a boarding pass. We, Port Health, did their due diligence, and the information has been passed on to the relevant authorities, which includes Civil Aviation Authority and the Immigration Department. We will work as a team. We have done our part.
Health Minister Dayal Singh told the lower house about the system that begins with vaccinated and unvaccinated nationals, as well as vaccinated non-nationals, submitting negative PCR test results and other required information to the Travel Pass website.
So it's a joint responsibility with the airline, not the Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago, the airline and the check-in counter, to ensure that the PCR results or any other documents are actually valid. And that is what did not happen in this particular case in New York.
He said the final check and balance is at the Carriacou International Airport.
I want to recognize and hail our Port Health officers at Carriacou for being diligent in executing their tasks. They have been the subject of abuse by passengers over the past few months, and they are to be congratulated.
Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
Barbados now has 400 new justices of the peace. This Barbados Today news item tells us more.
The new officers were installed this evening at a brief swearing-in ceremony at the Wildy Gymnasium, where President, the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Mason, administered the oaths of allegiance and office. Prime Minister Mia Motley urged the new JPs to move beyond their traditional roles and get engaged in helping to build up Barbados, particularly at the community level.
It cannot be left to the just under 1,300 police that we have, or the soldiers that we have, or the judges that we have, or the magistrates that we have. It has to be the responsibility of each and every one of us, irrespective of where we sit in our leadership positions. Those leadership positions may be in our families, maybe in our churches, maybe in our communities. And for you now, they are definitely across your community because you have formally accepted the oath of office that gives you certain powers, but more than the powers, gives you the respect of your peers and your family. This is important because if you can leverage that respect to help us build out this nation as we should, then we shall have a better country and we shall have better opportunities for our children.
She also appealed to the JPs not to swerve from their commitment to duty.
Because whether the violence is original violence or vigilante violence, it is unacceptable in our landscapes, because let he who is without sin apparently also cast the first stone. But above all else, the law does not give you the right to impose your version of justice on other persons. That is why the police court and the courts exist, in order for us to have a transparent system that is above all other considerations of partiality. And that is why the oath which you just took speaks about acting without fear or favor. And it is critical that you remember this.
Conveniently located in the Grenada Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair granaries will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.